Hello, I'm Dr. Garry Gordon. I've practiced medicine for over 50 years. I'm 74 years of age, and like many of you, I've had to fight for my health. Today I'm going to teach you about the Fight for Your Health program that is needed more than ever today by millions of Americans. The bottom line truth is that we have a true epidemic. And the book I'm going to recommend that you buy from Amazon for $14 by Donna Jackson Nakazawa is called The Autoimmune Epidemic. This book conservatively estimates that there's 27 million people today with diseases that are as diverse as everything from rheumatoid to childhood diabetes, even including today diabetes, that are related to autoimmunity, where our body is attacking itself. And by the time you understand this concept, you'll be able to understand allergies. In fact, you'll have a whole new lease on life when you learn my Fight for Your Health program. What am I talking about? This book, which is endorsed by a director, Frederick W. Miller, of the National Institutes of Health Environmental Autoimmunity Group, explains, as well as the backing of Dr. Kerr and Dr. Noel R. Rose of Johns Hopkins, that none of us today can count on being treated the way we were in the past because there's genetic changes going on in our bodies. What kind of genetic changes could happen almost overnight? They're called epigenetic, meaning above genetics, and they happen that fast. All you have to do is warm the baby's bottle in a microwave, and the plastic in there will release enough bisphenol A, part of the phthalates that we find in our plastic bottles and our plastic wrapped food that are now in our bodies, a minimum of 10,000 times higher than they were just a few years ago. So everybody I'm talking to has this likely problem of a toxin changing your body's ability to relate to the environment around us. And so we're putting big words out. Environmental medicine. That would mean the effect of lead, mercury, PCB, dioxins, phthalates, bisphenol A. That's part of the problem. And then you get to the other half of the problem, which is how this has changed our body's genes permanently. So all of the children of a juvenile diabetic are likely to have juvenile diabetes. So that's rather frightening. But we have these very brilliant doctors endorsing this patient who twice had total body paralysis with Guillain-Barré, following both times taking a flu vaccine. Does that mean none of us should ever have a flu vaccine again? That's only for you to decide when you know the benefits and risks of every decision we make. That's why I'm calling this Fight for Your Health. And you can't fight unless you have information. So I am proposing that you can learn from the GordonResearch.com website a great deal of information that is all well documented in the book, but I had to tease it out of the book in a way that you may relate to, because the book might depress you, might frighten you, suggesting that we can't give every child the standard immunization protocol anymore because that child could be immune compromised. And we all know that the Environmental Protection Agency has published that at least 600,000 babies are born each year with mercury toxicity. So how does this F.I.G.H.T, how does that work? Well, the F is for the food, and that's complicated enough to figure out what should you eat, because we have more and more of us allergies to foods. And if you're allergic to wheat, then you get into gluten sensitivity. More and more people are avoiding wheat and gluten because it doesn't cause just upset stomach. It can absolutely be part of the trigger of all of this list of over 100 diseases. These diseases include things from loss of hair to back pain to thick blood to Addison's disease and psoriasis and Raynaud's disease and Reiter's disease and rheumatoid fever, sarcoidosis, scleroderma, systemic lupus, ulcerative colitis. These diseases are epidemic in our society today. Chronic fatigue, herpes, all of these now are tied to the problem of what we call autoimmunity. And you will not find any specialist with any hospital or medical center that has a magic bullet for this 100 diseases. There isn't going to be a magic bullet. You can't just get rid of your MS by taking a shot somewhere if the MS is due to a problem with the F, the I, the G, the H, the T. The I is infection. We have infections in every human being today, adequately tested. You will have some form of herpes, some form of chlamydia, some form of mycoplasma, and it costs money to test this, and doctors don't test for it because there wasn't until recently anything that really would treat these infections. Now there's a natural approach with an advanced form of cellular silver that we'll tell about later. But once you go from the I to the G, you're going to be talking about genetics. We all know that genetic testing is here. And if I test a child with autism, I will find specific problems that, knowing that defect of the genes, I can lay a program out where even if the parents have spent $250,000 and the child is still entirely non-functional, we can totally change the picture and get the child back to school because we have this extra information. Just one thing. Because we all have bisphenol A, part of the hardening plastics in our bloodstream, many of us today have a problem in methylation, so we need advanced forms of folic acid, trimethylglycine, methylsulfonomethane, advanced forms of sublingual B12. We have ways to help on the G. When you get to the H, it's a little more complicated because all of us know that we have lead and mercury and cadmium and too much tungsten and uranium is coming into our bodies from every direction. Just look at mercury. If you're not getting it from too many fillings, they now find it's been in the high fructose corn syrup that has been the sweetener in all the soft drinks we've been giving our kids. And if you don't get it from there, you get it from breathing the air, because when we burn coal to make electricity, we put mercury in the air. So if you eat fish, which I continue to eat because my program can armorize you and you can get rid of these toxins, so I daily take enough of my oral detoxification program with oral chelators that I still eat largely what I want to, as long as I'm not allergic to it and as long as it's not wrong for my blood type. But the H then means that I am one of the few people that can walk into a laboratory and they find no lead in my blood and almost none in my hair or in my urine. So if you're going to go where I'm trying to take you to be able to fight back, because I had very bad genes, I've had everything wrong with me that you can have, from disabling headaches to disabling back pain to advanced heart disease at an early age. It doesn't make any difference what is wrong with you. My stomach was so bad as a kid, I was allergic to every food. There's nothing that you can have wrong with you that I haven't had to overcome. I've had to rebuild my knees. I've rebuilt my body using natural, non-surgical approaches that we teach you about on Gordon Research. But the other part of H is hormones, because at age 74, I have to be on natural hormone support. And that includes things like DHEA and melatonin. And we have a unique way of supporting your growth hormone called Beyond GHS. And we have a wonderful way of dealing with the estrogen problem of change of life that is part of men and women health problem. Because this way, if you listen carefully, we can stop bone loss, stop Alzheimer's, and reduce prostate and breast problems, almost eliminating breast cancer using a natural approach to the H. So the H has heavy metals and hormones, and the T of the F.I.G.H.T is the most depressing one because there's no one that has been tested at Mount Sinai School of Medicine that doesn't have at least 40 cancer-causing chemicals or neurotoxin chemicals that are damaging your ability to learn or remember things or think or react, neurotoxins. And then there's a huge number of us that have endocrine disruptors, like the dioxins and PCBs, that make it difficult to deal. We call them estrogen mimics. So if we're going to deal with F.I.G.H.T, now you have a way to deal with all of these autoimmune diseases. 27 million people need to know about this book because it explains. Give up looking for magic bullets. Don't look for some toxic drug that's going to take them and make you well, because until you have dealt with your food allergy, your infection, your genetic problem in methylation, getting certain kind of nutrients that are proven to take somebody that the gene has been switched into a bad change, inducing diabetes and obesity, and you can bring it back using the correct kind of methylating supplements. So F.I.G.H, oral chelation, is essential for life. All of my patients take an oral chelator of some kind, either in a drink or in a pill, every day of their life, because the mercury, lead, and cadmium is in our water, food, and air. And I can't have it in your body if you're going to be able to be effective when you live to 80, and most of us are going to live 80 and longer, and to not have Alzheimer's and broken bones and cancer and heart disease. Now is a good time to start. Thank you for listening. I hope you learn how to fight for your health as I have learned, and I want to share this message with you.